Every morning, life gives you a choice. Before the noise, before the notifications, before the rush, there's a sacred window. Just 10 minutes. 10 minutes that can decide how you feel, how you think, and how you lead. Most people spend those 10 minutes reacting, checking messages, scrolling, rushing, stressing. But the great ones, the fulfilled ones, they design their mornings. They use those 10 minutes as fuel, not as fire. How you start your morning defines how you show up for the world. The first few moments after you open your eyes are not just about waking up your body. They are about waking up your purpose. Most people underestimate the power of those early minutes, but they shape everything that follows. The way you begin your day determines the energy you carry, the mindset you choose, and the quality of presence you bring to every person and situation you meet. When you start your day with intention, you give yourself the chance to lead instead of react. You decide the tone before the world decides it for you. A calm, grateful, focused start builds a foundation of confidence and clarity. You approach challenges differently because your mind is already aligned with purpose. You speak with more patience, you listen with more empathy, and you make decisions from a place of awareness instead of anxiety. Every small morning choice, how you breathe, what you focus on, what words you tell yourself, creates a ripple effect that shapes the rest of your day. It's not about having a perfect routine. It's about creating a ritual that reminds you of who you are before the noise of the world tries to tell you who to be. Whether it's a few minutes of silence, writing down what you're grateful for, or simply taking a slow breath before reaching for your phone, those small habits send a message to your brain. I'm in control of my life. That single shift, from chaos to control, from reaction to intention, changes everything. When you start your day rushed and distracted, you carry that energy everywhere. You show up tense, impatient, and disconnected. But when you start your day grounded, you walk into the world with clarity, kindness, and strength. People feel that energy. You communicate better, you handle stress with grace, and you make others feel safe and inspired around you. The truth is, the world doesn't need more people who are just busy. It needs more people who are present. And presence begins the moment you wake up. Every morning is an invitation to decide how you'll show up for yourself, for others, and for the world. Start your morning right and you'll start living right. You can't control every day, but you can control how you begin it. Life is unpredictable. Things will happen that you never planned for. Situations will unfold beyond your control, and people will act in ways you can't predict. But there's one moment that always belongs to you, the moment you wake up. That short space between sleep and the world's noise is your reset button. Your chance to take ownership before the day takes you over. When you consciously begin your morning with intention, you build a foundation of calm and strength that no chaos can shake. The truth is, control isn't about managing every event. It's about managing your response. You may not choose what happens around you, but you can always choose how you prepare your mind and heart for it. When you start your day rushing, scrolling, or worrying, you hand over your power before the day even begins. But when you start with gratitude, stillness, or purpose, you claim that power back. Those first few minutes are like setting the temperature of your internal climate. They decide whether you'll react to life or rise above it. Every leader, creator, and thinker who lives with peace understands this principle. They know mornings are not just about productivity, they're about alignment. They take a few minutes to breathe, to reflect, to remind themselves what truly matters. Because the way you begin your morning often becomes the way you live your day. If you start grounded, you stay grounded. If you start with clarity, you make clear decisions. If you start with gratitude, you see blessings instead of burdens. You may not be able to predict the challenges that come, but you can prepare your mindset to face them with resilience. You can decide to move slowly even when life speeds up, to stay kind even when others are not, to keep hope even when things fall apart. That power, the power to begin right, is always in your hands. So no matter what waits beyond your door, take ownership of the beginning. Take a breath, speak something kind to yourself. Choose peace over panic, gratitude over worry, purpose over distraction. Because you can't control every day, but the way you start it can change everything that follows. Discipline in the first 10 minutes creates direction for the next 10 hours. The way you spend those opening moments of your day determines the rhythm, the focus, and the strength you carry forward. Most people believe discipline is about big decisions or long hours of effort, but true discipline begins in the smallest moments, especially the first few minutes after waking up. Those 10 minutes are where you decide whether you'll drift through the day reacting to everything or rise to lead it with clarity and purpose. When you start your morning with discipline, you send a signal to your mind that you're in control. You take ownership before the world demands it from you. Whether it's choosing not to grab your phone, sitting quietly in gratitude, making your bed, or reviewing your goals, that single act of consistency builds a mindset of order. The human brain craves structure. When you start your day with intentional action, you create a mental pathway that says, I lead my life, not the other way around. Those 10 disciplined minutes build momentum, and momentum is what keeps you moving even when motivation fades. Without discipline in the beginning, the day easily slips into distraction. One missed intention becomes one lost hour, and soon you're wondering where your focus went. But when you create structure in those first 10 minutes, you anchor your energy. You remind yourself of your priorities and decide what kind of person you'll be today, calm or rushed, focused or scattered, intentional or reactive. Discipline in those moments is not about control, it's about freedom, because when you begin with structure, you free yourself from chaos. Every successful person understands that mornings are not about time management, they are about energy management. 10 minutes of focused, disciplined behavior, breathing, planning, stretching, reading something uplifting, sets a tone that carries for the next 10 hours. The discipline doesn't end after those minutes. It transforms into quiet confidence, sharper focus, and emotional steadiness throughout the day. You don't need to control the whole day to win it. You just need to master the first 10 minutes. Each morning gives you a choice to drift or to direct, to react or to rise. When you choose discipline first, you create direction for everything that follows. The purpose of the morning is not to rush, it's to reconnect. The world teaches us to wake up and run, to chase deadlines, to answer messages, to start producing before we even start breathing. But mornings were never meant to be a race. They were meant to be a reunion with yourself, with your thoughts, with your purpose, and with life itself. The first light of day is a reminder that you've been given another chance, another opportunity to begin again. When you rush through that sacred moment, you disconnect from the very energy that gives meaning to your actions. To reconnect in the morning means to pause long enough to remember who you are before the world tells you who to be. It's about listening to your thoughts, observing your feelings, and realigning your heart with what truly matters. Maybe it's sitting in silence for a few minutes, breathing slowly, or simply looking out the window and appreciating the stillness. These moments are not wasted time, they are investments in clarity. When you take time to reconnect, you anchor yourself in peace before stepping into the noise. Rushing disconnects you from yourself. It puts you in a constant state of reaction, where your actions are driven by urgency instead of intention. But when you slow down and reconnect, you move from a place of awareness. You choose your words more thoughtfully, handle challenges with patience, and see beauty in the ordinary. That small shift from rushing to reconnecting transforms how you experience your entire day. The morning is your chance to check in with your purpose. Ask yourself simple but powerful questions. What do I want to bring into today? Who do I want to be for the people I meet? How do I want to feel? These reflections guide your energy toward what truly matters, so you can move through the day with focus and calm instead of pressure and confusion. You don't need a perfect routine to reconnect. You just need presence. The world will always move fast, but you don't have to. The quiet of the morning is your reset, a moment to align your mind, your body, and your soul. When you start from that place of connection, you carry peace into everything you do. Small rituals build big confidence. Confidence is not something that appears overnight. It's something that is built slowly, layer by layer, through consistent action. The mind learns to trust itself when it sees you keeping small promises, when it watches you do the little things you said you would do. A ritual doesn't have to be grand or complicated. It can be as simple as making your bed, journaling for 5 minutes, drinking a glass of water with gratitude, or setting an intention before you leave the house. These small acts are reminders that you are in control, that you can depend on yourself, and that you are capable of creating order in the middle of chaos. Every time you follow through on a small ritual, you send a message to your brain: I can trust myself. That trust is the foundation of confidence. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. The power of a ritual lies in its repetition. When you do something meaningful every day, even if it's small, you begin to see progress. That progress becomes proof, and proof builds belief. Over time, those tiny habits shape how you see yourself and how you show up in the world. Confidence doesn't come from external validation, it comes from internal alignment. When you keep small rituals, you train your mind to stay focused and disciplined even when motivation fades. You create stability in a world that is constantly changing. Those few moments of intentional action remind you that you can rely on your own effort, that no matter what happens, you can always begin again. The more you honor those small commitments, the more you strengthen the relationship between your thoughts and your actions. Small rituals also bring grounding. They slow you down, center you, and bring meaning to the ordinary. Lighting a candle before you start working, stretching your body before the day begins, or reflecting on one thing you're grateful for, each of these moments reconnects you to purpose. Over time, this quiet discipline builds emotional strength, self-respect, and confidence that doesn't depend on results. Confidence is not built in leaps, it's built in steps. Each small ritual is one of those steps, steady, intentional, and powerful. When you honor the small things, the big things in life begin to align naturally. When you begin with gratitude, you end the day with peace. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a perspective, a way of seeing the world that transforms how you experience it. The moment you wake up and choose to focus on what's right instead of what's missing, you set the tone for everything that follows. Gratitude shifts your attention from scarcity to abundance, from frustration to acceptance, from stress to serenity. It doesn't change your circumstances immediately, but it changes how you move through them. And when your perspective changes, everything else follows. Starting your day with gratitude is like putting on a lens of clarity. It reminds you that even in the middle of uncertainty, there's still something to appreciate. The breath in your lungs, the people who care for you, the chance to try again. This awareness grounds you before the world begins to pull you in every direction. It reminds you that no matter how unpredictable life becomes, you still have control over how you see it. Gratitude turns ordinary mornings into moments of meaning, because it reconnects you with what truly matters. When you live your day anchored in gratitude, your reactions soften. You become more patient, more understanding, and less consumed by what's missing. Small inconveniences lose their power to ruin your mood because you see the bigger picture. You start noticing beauty in simple things: a kind word, a quiet sunrise, the sound of laughter. Gratitude opens your eyes to the goodness that's already present, and that awareness becomes your strength. By the time the day ends, the same gratitude you began with returns to you as peace. You rest easier because you've spent the day appreciating, not complaining. You've focused on what you have instead of what you lack. You've practiced contentment instead of comparison. Gratitude makes room for peace because it silences the noise of dissatisfaction. Every morning is a choice to wake up in worry or to wake up in wonder. When you choose gratitude, you give yourself the gift of perspective. You carry lightness through your day, and when the night comes, You close your eyes not with regret, but with calm. Gratitude in the morning always finds its way back to you as peace at night.